round 2 of the playoffs is underway. The basketball has been amazing, and Patrick and I are going to give our thoughts on round 2. I guess our predictions. Let's get into foul trouble.
Ooh, boy. We are just... It sucks that we had to sacrifice Steph Curry's hamstring for this amazing slate of just basketball insanity. I don't even know where to start, James.
I know exactly where to start, Patrick. We're going to start with worst take of the week, and it goes to me.
Okay. Oh!
Because I said the Knicks were going to get swept by the Celtics, and the Knicks are up 2-0. And the games have been amazing. They've had these huge comebacks. The Celtics look like they're reverting to the form they had 2 years ago, where the moment always looks a little too big for them for some reason. I can't believe the Knicks are doing. I feel like we have to start in I guess Boston technically, because we haven't even had a game in New York yet.
Yeah, that's definitely the right place to start, I think. And it's just like, so the Knicks, if you are living under a basketball rock, I don't know how you found your way to this podcast to learn that the Knicks are up 2-0 against the vaunted Boston Celtics. They have come back from 2 20-point deficits in the second half to get there. And the craziest thing is the Knicks haven't even played well.
Yeah, no, the games are low scoring. Both the game last night was under 100. Brunson did not shoot the ball well. I don't know if he finished with more field goal attempts than points or around the same number, but he was like 6 of 19 for like 16 points at one night. But all that matters in a low-scoring game is, can you get that bucket in isolation against Drew Holiday, and he gets the free throws at the end, and he got a mid-ranger before that. So it's really all it kind of comes down to. I mean, do you feel like the Celtics are in trouble?
I mean, just as it is, absolutely. We were talking yesterday. Since 1984, teams that go down 0-2, losing 2 home games, they're 4-24 in the series. So it's possible, and I think if there's ever a team that can fight their way back, it's a team with championship experience like the Celtics. I mean, let alone their championship last year. The Celtics have been literally in this spot before. They didn't end up winning the series, but I think this series is so 2023 Heat versus Celtics coded.
That's exactly where I was going to go. For those who don't remember, the Heat went up 3-0 against the Celtics, and the Celtics looked completely disjointed. They looked like they didn't know how to play basketball. It kind of looked like this, but even worse, because the Heat were blowing them out in these games. And then the Celtics win 3 straight, and then Jason Tatum gets hurt very early in Game 7, so they come very close to completing the first ever 3-0 comeback.
So it's like that's in play, but I mean, just like you said, like we've never seen a 3-0 comeback before. 3-1 comebacks are super, super rare, and the only thing rarer than that is coming back from 0-2 when you lose both of your home games. But then, I mean, the other thing that you have to remember about the Celtics is the Celtics all season have been way, way, way better on the road than they have been at home. They had a better road record this season, and that's kind of flipped on its head from last season. The Celtics were by far the best home team in the league. But, dude, like, I mean, just like, what have you seen? Like, it just feels like the Celtics are playing right into all of the Knicks' strengths and like avoiding their weaknesses. Like the whole season, the Knicks have been this team with super suspect rim protection, and they just can't bring themselves to, make them pay for this. And of course, Jaylen Brown is like looking like not super healthy. Kristaps Porzingis has just this like weird, like lingering health issue where he's playing, but even after the games, he's saying that he's like not feeling 100%.
No, Patrick, get to the real story with the Celtics. Jason Tatum is a bona fide scrub. This guy looks like he's playing in the finals last year. I know they won. He was horrible in the NBA finals last year. This is the second time he's in a big-time playoff series, and he is just terrible. Between the two games, he is shooting 12 of 42 from the field.
Yeah, and well, they just
He
can't.
is just not efficient.
But, you don't, in a slugfest like this, you don't even have to be efficient. You know?
But you have to be better than 12 of 42.
I mean, Jalen Brunson was barely better than that.
But
Mikal
Jason Tatum has
Bridges-
36 points across 42 shots. Like, that's not, like, bad efficiency. That's like, holy, you're Swish Parker on high volume right now.
Yeah, and I mean, I think the worst part about it all from a Celtics fan perspective is just like when he is effective, it's just too early and it's not often enough. Cuz like I think the third quarter was what really stood out for me in game 1, where they literally only attempted 1 2-point field goal the whole time. It's just settling around like really, really great perimeter defense. Like, I think it waxes and wanes a little bit for the Knicks. Like, Mikal was incredible through all 4 quarters of game 1. I think his defense kind of came and went in game 2 and was really there in the fourth quarter. But like shooting over guys like Bridges, Hart, OG, like those closeouts is just so tough that I don't. And Cat's just like, he's waiting for you, He's ready to be attacked.
Yeah, well, they've also done a good job shuffling in Mitchell Robinson, though, because Mitchell Robinson is a good rim protector, especially against, these guys who are coming in from the perimeter where he's not going to get bodied down low from a weight disadvantage. Like, this is a good series for Mitchell Robinson.
What did you make of them intentionally fouling Mitchell Robinson in game? They did it in both games, but in game 2 to put them into the bonus to get him off the court.
I'm super anti-hack a center strategy when you're in a low-scoring game, because if the center makes like I don't know, let's say he shoots 1 out of 2 every time. That's really efficient in those level of scoring games. You have to bank on the guy missing a pair a couple times. And for the team that is shooting the free throw, they only have to make 1 for it to be a win, because when these games are ending in the 90s and you're subtracting all the transition and fast break buckets in these games, I mean, that means the points per possession are probably in the 70s. So if you're making 1 free throw per trip, that's 1 point per possession. I mean, mathematically it doesn't make sense for the hacking team. Plus you put them in the bonus. I think it's a really stupid decision. I didn't like it when Kerr did it. I don't like it when Missoula, Mozzarella,
Joey
it's
Motz.
early. Yeah.
Can we have
can we revisit also, because I had this point at the end of the finals and I feel really vindicated watching this series. I love Joe Mazzulla. I love his interviews. He's a great addition to the NBA world. I still don't think he's a good coach. I don't know what the evidence is that he does what he actually does.
Yeah, I mean, I think one thing that has really exposed itself from an NBA coaching perspective this postseason specifically is just being too rigid. I think it's a huge thing of what bit the Lakers in the butt with just JJ being so committed to the system and the game plan for a specific game that the Lakers weren't really able to pivot in games that were winnable for them. And I totally agree with you. I think it shows out really glaringly in both of these Boston games.
Yeah, it just feels like the Celtics, it's just chuck up a bunch of threes, mismatch hunt. And I mean, also on that final possession where Mikal ended up getting the pass block, is isolating Mitchell Robinson the best move?
I mean, it is.
I mean, especially when you've got Al Horford allowed to do moving screens that go 20 yards down the court. You may as well leverage that a little bit better if you have a guy who's allowed to just maul. Both of their last 2 possessions, Al Horford is just moving and shoving and what?
I know it. Well, that play that they ran there was that same play that
He got the dunk on.
That he got the dunk on right before, and that was the only time they scored in the last 8 minutes of the game. So it's like, I guess I see why you go back to that, because you just have nothing else going, and it's like, do you want, super tight Derek White taking this shot? Maybe, but yeah, really rough Jason Tatum.
Well, do you want 12 of 42 taking the shot? Because I don't.
Yeah, I feel like you have to ride with that though. What's the other option?
I don't agree. I feel like the Celtics' whole thing this whole season has been we mismatch hunt. We don't just give it to Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown. Like if Drew Holiday has a TJ McConnell on him. Not that TJ's a bad defender, but there's such a strength mismatch there. Like, we give it to Drew. I feel like that's kind of been the Celtics' identity, is like, whoever has the best matchup of the five of us, we're going to let that person go at that defender. And I feel like going right at Mitchell Robinson, who agility-wise is not that much less agile than Jason Tatum, is a terrible matchup.
I don't. It's not him on OG. Like,
Yeah.
I hear you, but like, that's your guy. Like, I think there's a certain credence to, like, in the playoffs, you gotta let your guy take the last shot, even if it's, like, I know that's why LeBron was killed over the years.
He's the Finals MVP. He's the Conference Finals MVP.
You crazy.
I don't know, how many times does Jason Tatum have to play this poorly before we ask questions? Because he was bad in the I don't know.
Everybody's asking questions. I guess I'm curious. What's the question?
I guess
it's like, we know he's not the best player in the world.
Would he even be like in the top 10 discussion if he wasn't on the Celtics team? Like, because sometimes when I watch him, I actually genuinely wonder that.
If he would be in the top 10 discussion if he wasn't on the Celtics team? I mean, his stats would bear out, yes, at least from the regular season, but he's definitely a playoff sinker. Like, yeah. I'm with you there.
So, to your point, though, Jaylen Brown, my guy, 15 of 43, which is better than 12 of 40.
Okay, can we talk about a playoff riser just real quick? Jalen Brunson.
Mikal Bridges.
Dude is, yeah, also Mikal Bridges. This dude is unbelievable. So
he is.
Through 8 games in the playoffs so far in the fourth quarter, he is averaging 10 points per fourth quarter in the game. And just like extrapolating that out. So the most points that we have ever seen in fourth quarters in under like 100 minutes in a single playoffs was Kevin Durant, 2016-2017. He scored 95 points in his first 100 fourth quarter playoff minutes. Jalen Brunson he already has 86 points through his first 80 minutes. And he's just like going to absolutely destroy, like, if you extrapolate that out. And what I guess I'm getting to is, like, he's a little guy. He's scoring. Like, what does this mean about Jalen Brunson? He's not on a Supermax contract. What is his place in the NBA hierarchy if he's able to consistently do that? Because another one of the greatest fourth quarter playoff, like, stretches we've ever seen was just Jalen Brunson last season.
No, it's actually really hard to place Brunson because, like, what he's doing in this isolation scoring is just insane. The way he's able to keep it up, especially when he's often the shortest guy on the court. I think that's what's also super impressive about what he's doing. It's hard to rank him against these other players because, one, we're seeing the impact of what he's doing. It's leading to a lot of wins. It's led to a lot of wins ever since he took on this role with the Knicks. So this isn't like a recency thing. But if you're going to be objective, he's not the level of passer a lot of the top guys are. And I honestly don't know if it's every game in this series is going to be physical. I feel like obviously both of us feel like the Celtics are leaving a lot of points on the table. I think both of us expect Brown and Tatum to be better. I think the Knicks are leaving a lot of points on the table too, though, playing through Brunson in a way where I think we're getting mesmerized by Brunson's isolation dazzling, and he is the clutch player of the year. But there was a possession late in the game where they have, like, Jaylen Brown just isolated. Like, Towns is just stuck on Jaylen Brown. They don't even look Towns' way.
Yeah, I mean,
I just feel like I do wonder
this
if
what you're explaining is the Celtics nightmare.
Yeah, I'm wondering if like the over Brunsification is leading us to be like, wow, Brunson is so good, which he is. I'm not taking away from Brunson. I'm taking away from Thibodeau here. But would the Knicks be better off if they were a little more egalitarian? Because I do feel like I think they are leaving points on the table playing overly through Brunson.
All I'll say to that is, like, you look at the shot attempts, it's not, like, egregious. Like, in Game 2, Brunson had 19 field goal attempts. Bridges had 18. Hart had 15. Towns had 16. Like, I think it's hard to remember, like, how we got there, because at the end of these games, like, it is so overwhelmingly Brunson. And, like, a lot of these possessions, like you said, is like dribble. Last second, you get the ball. But it just, I don't know. It's like, this feels like the new age, like perfect version of like the 01 76ers, you know?
Well, you know, we all know I'm not the biggest Towns guy, but it's hard not to think back to that game, you know, against the Pistons where him and Towns are both hitting like just two absolute sinker shots to win them the game. And obviously early in the season, Towns was really showing his scoring load. And I feel like as the season's gone on, we've seen less and less of how Towns can contribute to the offense. And I do feel like, I know the Knicks are up 2-0 against the team most people picked to win the finals. I feel like in a potential series against OKC, and I don't want to get too ahead of myself for the Knicks, because I still think Boston is pretty scary, even down 0-2. But I don't know if that's going to work against a team like that if they're not going to really utilize the full tool chest they have.
Yeah, I mean, so I went through all of the teams.
I guess for me, it's like I feel like they wouldn't have been down 20 in these games if they actually had played a more developed offense. Because I just feel like the Knicks are leaving a lot of points on the table. It's why I didn't like them in this series and why I thought Detroit was going to take them to 7.
I mean, it's like you just if they can get the way they get out of this series, I think maybe that's the most interesting thing that we can talk about next. I think they need one game where they just like shoot well, you know, which we haven't really seen yet, almost at all from the Knicks. Of all the teams still alive right now, they have by far the largest offensive rating regression from regular season offensive rating to playoff offensive rating. And that's going down by, this isn't including yesterday's game, but that's going down by 10.3 points.
And what is their defensive progression?
And their defensive progression is the second largest of any team that's alive right now in negative 6.8 points. So they've
I kind of like that formula for them, though. What do you think? I think this version of the Knicks, where they're really scrappy and the games are really ugly, and you've got 5 guys who are really comfortable playing in a low-scoring game, is a lot better for them. Because I feel like it throws teams off like the Celtics, who are like, we only have 88 points, and the game's about to end. I feel like it kind of really throws those teams off, whereas the Knicks are really comfortable living in that reality.
Well, I didn't even think this was a possibility, to be honest. You know, I
didn't either. With the way they protected the rim this year,
felt like once Hartenstein and DiVincenzo were gone, just like, and going throughout the whole season, that they had some kind of magic in last postseason, even though obviously injuries caught up to them, but they had some kind of magic that had slipped away. And then really from the get-go of this postseason, even facing teams with really defenders that were made in a lab to defend Jalen Brunson one-on-one in Oscar Thompson, and then just like the bevy of guys that the Celtics have, you just like your normal basketball brain is like, this is going to hurt them. If they're going to win this series, they're going to have to shoot the lights out. And it just turns out, you know, you've still got Josh Hart as like this, like one of the best, like little man playoff rebounders ever. And then all of a sudden the two big lineup is working with Mitchell Robinson and Karl Anthony Towns, which Tibbs was just like so reluctant to go to in the whole second half of the year. Like I totally agree with you. If they can just bump up the offensive rating just to, cut that in half, that deficit from regular season to playoffs, like you're sitting pretty. I think the path to the NBA Finals really opens itself up, but like that's saying a lot because I don't think the Celtics team is gonna quit. I don't think they're done.
No, I don't either. I'm excited to see where that series goes next. All right, should we hit the other game last night real quick?
Yes, I watched a little bit of the first half of this game, but this is much more of what I thought was going to happen in this series.
Yeah, this is kind of what I thought too, even after Denver won game one. I mean, there's just a lot of possessions where like Case and Wallace gets a steal. There's already 3 Nuggets back in transition, and he just runs in between them and past all of them because OKC is just so much more athletic up and down the roster than the Nuggets are.
Yeah, so Nuggets won 149-106 in game 2 of this series, evening it up, and heading to Denver. I don't even know.
Game 3 is going to be super telling if this is going to be a series or not, or if this is going to be like the OKC wins in 5 or 6.
Yeah, I mean, if we're being like a buck here, OKC should be up 2-0 right now.
Oh, yeah.
There's been a lot of just incredible finishes to these second-round playoff games. And, you can argue this a little bit, but I don't know if any of them were more just like completely fell asleep, fluky than that Denver OKC one, especially with Chet like missing both of those free throws and the really weird fouling up 3, just like they did not execute, or fouling up 2, they did not execute that well whatsoever, which has been so played out in the media.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's one of those things, though, that is a little results-based, because it's like if Chet just makes his free throws, like, we're like, wow, that was so smart of them. I kind of do hate and this goes for a lot of sports, because you see a lot in American football, too, where, like, a coach will make a decision that's actually a somewhat sound decision, and then, like, some sort of weird fluky outcome happens. And then people are like, oh, the coach is such an idiot. You would never do that. It's like, would you say that if Chet made his free throws, which is independent of the decision?
Yeah, I don't quibble with fouling up too. I definitely get the merits. It was just like, fouling them before they're even across half court.
Yeah,
like,
and not letting the time waste a little bit. I agree
exactly.
I agree with that notion. But strategically, I still think it's the most sound strategy.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there.
Yeah, I don't really know what to say. I mean, I feel like Denver, the big takeaway I had from last offseason when they lost the Timberwolves is, wow, I didn't realize this team has a fatal flaw, and it's that they only have one real ball handler, who's Jamal Murray. So they bring in Westbrook this year and, live by the Westbrook, die by the Westbrook. I think that's the problem is, at least with Westbrook, you're getting a guy, because I feel like with Murray, he's still kind of susceptible to like, hey, I'm Case and Wallace, and I'm just going to take the ball out of your hands. And you're like, wow, Jamal Murray's really not that good of a ball handler by NBA point guard standards at times, whereas Westbrook isn't going to get stripped like that, but the decision-making is basically the same thing. This is a team that I feel like could have really benefited from, like, Chris Paul.
Yeah, I see Chris Paul. I mean, I think the other thing about the Nuggets, and in that, like, exercise that I did with the ratings, playoff versus regular season, something that really jumped out to the Nuggets and I think really showed itself to bear in the Clippers series as well as the start of this series is there's only one team whose defensive rating has actually gotten worse in the playoffs with all of this added physicality and just like I feel like the nuts and bolts tightening like we've almost haven't seen in like 20 plus years, and that's the Nuggets. The Nuggets defensive rating is 8 points worse than their regular season defensive rating, which is tough because they didn't even have a great they didn't even have a great one to start out with.
Last night felt so easy for OKC. One, because like half their buckets were just coming in transition, where guys like J-Dub are just running down the court and running past Denver's guys and just laying it up. It felt like the level of physicality in that game was way below Not because of the officiating dictating it to be way below. It just felt like naturally that game's physicality just was at a level that was way below a lot of these other playoff games. And I feel like OKC was just every time they had to be in the half court too, it's like they'd run like a pick and roll and Shea's running horizontal and they're double teaming Shea. And then all of a sudden like Isaiah Joe or Andrew Wiggins is wide open at the top of the key. And it felt like Denver's defensive intensity was really poor last night. So that's why I do wonder, like, is game 3 going to show us that Denver has some fight, or is OKC just going to be so relentless and overbearing that this is like a gentleman's sweep? Because I don't remember the timing of our last podcast in relation to this series starting, but I think both of us picked OKC, presumably.
Yeah, we weren't sure who was going to be in this against OKC, but I'm pretty sure we both picked them to make the finals.
Do you want to lament your guy Harden again?
I know. That was so
Are
rough.
you ready to give up?
I'm never ready to give up. Because you know what? After our conversation where we had this whole Harden hash out, and I was like, you only need one game from him, and then Kawhi can bring you home. They got that one game for him. He was great in Game 6.
And he was horrible in Game 7.
Yeah, I think he was celebrating at the clubs early or something. But yeah, how just Clippers cursed was that the end to that
told
series?
You, man. I told you. If the Clippers are only a little bit better than the other team, you have to pick them to lose. It's just Clipper curse. They have to be like overwhelmingly better to win a series. It's the only way.
Yeah. And Nikola Jokic. He's gonna do that to you.
Do you remember my what was it? One of my big question. I think my first or second big question in that podcast was, when are we getting the monster Jokic game? In Game 1, he put up 42 and 22. He is so good,
so disgustingly good. It's so just good. Like insane.
That one move where he posted up Dort from the 3-point line, spun, and then perfectly like had the stability to just feather in a floater. Like most guys, that's just careening off the backboard, or it's a brick. Like the touch is incredible with Jokic.
Do you have anything else to say about this series? I feel like we kind of need a third game to like know what's really going on here.
Yeah, I guess for Denver, I do feel like a lot of yesterday's game, there was a big energy mismatch. I'm not taking away from OKC. I picked OKC to win. I do wonder what it looks like if Denver ratchets up the physicality, because they are the taller team, and in the front court, they're the bigger team.
And just like, even in the backcourt, they're the better rebounding team. So they can win the possessions battle.
I feel like Denver Clippers was also not a very physical first-round series compared to some of the other ones we saw.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's because Denver themselves, other than Jokic and Gordon, are not comfortable playing physical like that. I don't know if it's just a lack of comfort. I think Jamal Murray doesn't seem like a player who's really comfortable playing in these highly physical games, but I feel like a version of Westbrook where he gets to be incredibly physical can be such an asset for the Nuggets, and I feel like it's in the Nuggets' benefit to make these games ugly and hope that if it comes down to a close game, Jokic just prevails.
Yeah, well, I think that was kind of the key to that second half against the Clippers, going back to that, because it was a close game going into the second half. And then the Nuggets, it was like a 10-point game, and the Nuggets came out, and like, Westbrook's just running around like his hair's on fire, and they go out to that 7-point run, and then they just never looked back.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think Game 3 is going to be telling. It's so hard with OKC, man. It's just, they are these lineups where it's like Shea, Kaysen Wallace, J-Dub, Alex Caruso, and Isaiah Hartenstein, and you're like, so who am I supposed to dribble around?
Yeah. Well, and
everyone's like, well, Shea's the weak link in the defense. Like, the weak link in the defense, the guy who led the league in steals last year.
And then, like, you have a game like Game 1 where it's like, yeah, they kind of brought it to us. And we're like, OKC has the luxury of being like, okay, like, let's just put J. Will in the rotation again, who is like, I would say probably one of the 5 best backup or like bench bigs that are in the league right now that a team is not depending on to start. Like, it's just so stupid.
I feel like what's hard for Denver too. Now, granted, I don't think OKC has looked good in games like this, where it's kind of what we talked about with the Celtics, where they don't look really comfortable playing in these low-scoring, hella physical games. And I feel like OKC also has not looked comfortable in those situations. But I do feel like OKC, with more experience in those situations, can become a team that does thrive in those areas because, like Denver, I mean, OKC is the perfect team for us to be like, hey, if you can keep the game in the 80s and you just give Shea like 2 possessions at the end of the game, you feel really good about that because Shea is not going to struggle to get a bucket even if the physicality ratchets up.
Yeah, well, and it's like good luck once it's like really tense, like good luck dribbling, like you said earlier. It's just like much. It's so difficult. And they even wasted an Alex Caruso like kind of masterclass in game 1.
Yeah, no, I think OKC is going to take it in 6. That's my prediction.
Yeah, I'm comfortable with that. It's kind of like the Jokic. It's like that's 2 games for any series, and then
it's time to get Jokic to like an all-star teammate. He hasn't had one yet. He plays in a way that would make it a lot easier for a guy to make the all-star team. It's time for Jokic to have an all-star teammate. Denver front office, let's go.
But Jamal Murray, he should be he maybe one day if you close one eye. He's an all-star. Okay.
Weird question.
Answer.
Is there any framework of a Denver trade for Kevin Durant that you would want as a Suns fan?
That's a really tough one because they have like really weird contracts. So it's like, it gets really hard to do it without putting Aaron Gordon in the deal. And then like, if you have to put Aaron Gordon in the deal, I'm down. But, like, I don't know why the Nuggets would want to do it at that point.
Yeah, I think Gordon's not an untouchable, but you have to blow Denver away for them to give up. I feel like the only way they give up Gordon is if it's for a Giannis, where he can fit the role.
Wait, let me pull this up real quick.
You know what the problem with KD, though, is I don't think KD helps Denver that much in this series because I've seen KD in these types of ugly series where the defense is just hella physical, and I feel like that's where KD's had his playoff struggles as he's gotten a lot older.
Yeah. It's like if they waive and stretch Beal and they can, like, get more money back, then you could do, like, a Jamal Murray for KD kind of straight-up thing, which I don't know if they'd want to do. Without that, it's like Michael Porter Jr. makes like 38. I guess you could maybe do it. Like, are you putting Christian Braun in there? Like,
yeah, that's so tough for Denver.
You probably don't really want to do that. I guess like Michael Porter Jr. and Zeke Naji. Then you're on kind of the other side of like, are the Suns really dying to do that? I don't want to rebuild
Denver before they're officially out, but I guess this is kind of a fun team. Like, is Denver a stealth team to like do like a whoa? They traded Jamal Murray and Aaron Gordon for Giannis. I don't know if that's possible, but
yeah. Well, hey, you get 3 teams in here. You can get really creative like that. The other thing is, I think their pick situation has been weird the last couple of years. Yeah, so they would have – I think they have their pick this year that's tradable, which obviously is like a late first-rounder. And then 27 and 28, so you got 1 unprotected pick. Oh, wait, no. They have like a rolling –
We'll probably get to our hypothetical Denver rebuild next week because picks. We gotta sort out the pick situation. Should we get to another Western Conference clash?
Yeah, we're 1 game in to Warriors Timberwolves, and we're 1 superstar down as we've teased already. So the Warriors won 99-88.
Probably
Steph Curry,
the ugliest, worst game of the whole playoffs. I think some of these 50-point blowouts have been more entertaining than that first game.
Steph Curry pulled his hamstring in that game and has been ruled out of games 2, which is tonight, 3 and 4. Minnesota has shot 12 of 76 from 3 in their last 2 games. What do you make of this series?
I felt like this game, what was really weird about this game was we watched Warriors Houston, which was, I would say is one of the more physical first round series. We watched Lakers Timberwolves, which was one of the more physical first round series. Both of those series were super physical, guys on the floor. And I felt like this game was not very physical. Other than maybe a couple of rebounding moments, it felt like this game was really loose on the physicality, but then was also low scoring, which is such a strange combination of two things. I don't know. I thought aesthetically this was the worst game of the whole playoffs, like including Cleveland smashing Miami, including last night's OKC Denver game. I thought, I don't know, but Ant-Man, I was really disappointed. I think the Warriors did a way better job of, like, when Ant gets past his initial defender, Draymond's ability to step into the space was so much better than anything Ant faced in game one. But, I mean, they kept saying it on the broadcast, Ant couldn't hit a jump shot all night. I mean, he just was not able to score, and it's not like he was getting stonewalled at the point of attack. He was able to generate, steps into the paint with the basketball, and the Warriors were rotating over. It just, I don't know, it felt like he wasn't able to make the reads, and they weren't even able to hit the shots when he did make the reads, and Julius Randle reverted back from Michael Jordan status to Michael B. Jordan status, so that was tough break for them.
Yeah, I mean, any game where Anthony Edwards has 1 point at halftime, you're like starting on, you're starting at home base instead of third base right there. Julius Randle, like, this is going to be a tough Julius Randle series for sure.
I feel like Julius Randle, though, like, there were moments in round one where he was like, I'm going at LeBron. I'm going to try to use my strength. Like, dude, do that to Draymond.
I mean,
just beat the snot out of Draymond. I don't care if you shoot inefficiently. Like, just make it easier for Gobert to grab offensive boards. Make it easier for Ant to drive in. Like, I feel like Julius Randle truly should treat himself like a battering ram to just wear down Draymond as much as he can in this series.
But I think at the same time, like, this would have been a game if, like, Draymond doesn't hit, like, 3 early threes. Like, it was really weird from that perspective. Of course, like, Steph was going nuclear until he
got hurt.
He came out, only playing 13 minutes and scoring 13 points. I do feel like this is still going to be a series just because
I still think Minnesota's going to win.
Yeah, I think Minnesota's going to win because Steph is not playing, but
yeah.
I was definitely on sipping the Golden State Kool-Aid coming into this series, and it sucks that Steph is out, but I don't think that means, like, this series is going to be like a 5-game reverse sweep at this point.
How do you feel about this series if it's tied 2-2 and Steph comes back in, like, game 4 and he looked a little shaky, but obviously there will be another day? Like, how will you feel if it's tied 2-2 and Steph's back and probably will be back to being maybe mostly himself?
I feel pretty good if I'm a Warriors fan then. I am kind of hesitant because I want to see how they guard the Wolves in this next game. But it's going to be a slog to score, I think, for the Timberwolves. This is not the Lakers defense that they were just playing against. Like, there's not really any, like, clear pigeons. And I think it helps that this is a Kevon Looney series where it's like, it's just super obvious that he can play in this series. So, like, that's one playoff player that I feel like the Warriors gain in this series, even though they're obviously losing one from Steph. But it will be, I think, like, honestly, the Warriors, like, they should be favored to lose this series at this point. But if they can get anything out of Jonathan Kuminga, oh my gosh, like, even the smallest bit, I think that really makes the margins close to even. I think just with Jimmy, with Draymond, like, I think they have close to enough to win this series if they can just figure out where to get their offense.
I feel like in game one, to me, what was, like, really highlighted with the Warriors defense was, like, whenever Ant is at the point of attack and Draymond is just always ready to shade over. In the Lakers series, Randall was such an efficient three-point shooter that strategy was untenable for the Lakers. I feel like the Warriors are trying to do the same tempting fate that the Lakers are. Now, the difference is when Draymond helps over, that's where Ant gets stuck. In the Lakers series, Ant would just see the help defender and just keep going.
Yeah.
But it's the same hypothetical setup that the Lakers were trying, and I think Steve Kerr probably was like, we can just execute that a lot better than the Lakers did. But in that Lakers series, when Ant did pass, Randall was a reliable shooter, and I do think the lineups where the Wolves do go Naz Reid with Randall, if Randall can hit threes or they can put Naz in that opposite corner maybe to make it so he's the more likely to be open guy in those kickouts, like I do feel like Ant has shown a really quick ability to adapt to defensive coverages. You'll remember in Game 2 of the Lakers series, they threw some strange zone at him that flummoxed him a little bit. It honestly was pretty much just what we saw. I think Ant will really adjust. I think Ant will be better in Game 2. Without Steph, I think Warriors will put up a fight, let them know they're there, but I kind of expect the Timberwolves shooting resurgence in Game 2. And then, again, it's another series where is Steph back in Game 3? If he is back, does he look right?
I think best case scenario, he's back Game 5. Because but like honestly, I'm not super optimistic about Steph. Like after everything that we've kind of said so far, like there's no guy in the NBA that struggles with hamstrings more than Devin Booker constantly, and so I've seen this play out.
They
and
linger.
Like this is not a 1 week injury, like especially for a guy that plays like Steph plays, like the amount of off-ball movement. I think if he is able to even come back, it's like more of a standstill shooting role from Steph, opposed to like Super Steph that just makes the Warriors a huge problem for every team. And then it just goes down to like what you were saying. Ant, like, are you able to generate enough offense to get the Timberwolves around that, like, 110 point? And I feel like if they can consistently hit that with without Steph being full, I think Timberwolves in like 6 is probably the most likely outcome that happens at this point.
Yeah,
even like
what Game 1 kind of reminded me of now that I'm thinking about it. Do you remember? This is gonna be a weird reference. Game 1 of Mavericks Clippers last year, where the Mavericks scored like 12 or 15 points in a quarter.
Oh yeah,
and I was just like, I don't even know what to take away from this game because that'll never happen again.
Yeah.
That's how I kind of feel about Game 1 here. Like, I don't think the Timberwolves are ever gonna have a 30-point half ever again.
Yeah, well, and to your point, like with Anthony Edwards, like being able to adjust on the fly, you even saw that in the second half of the game. Like he just started putting his head down, and he scored 23 points at the end of the game and had one.
I feel like the defining characteristic of this Timberwolves team is like their grit, and they're like Western Pacers in terms of like the attitude they play with. And I felt like that was totally missing last night, and I feel like they're going to get that back because I feel like this team's not afraid of Draymond. And even Gobert, I felt like last night, I thought Gobert looked a lot more confident in that battling with Draymond and really not giving up ground and really asserting himself. I know the Timberwolves lost, but I thought Gobert actually looked pretty good for a lot of that game.
So if you're Steve Kerr, who are you putting in your starting lineup to replace Steph?
I know Moody's looked kind of scared, but I feel like Moody's a guy that I want to try to get back in the groove.
Yeah. I think I'm lean Looney just to start out with, try to like control the possession battle early, and see how that goes. And you can have kind of Draymond in more of that roving, he's on Julius Randle, but he's also just doing his skeleton key, roving around the court thing.
I want to see like Jimmy Butler. Like, is this the series where Jimmy Butler really turns it up and turns it on?
I mean, it has to be.
It's going to be hard against Ant McDaniels, but like Jimmy's got to give him some juice because even last night, I know 2 days ago when they won, Jimmy didn't give them much scoring.
7 for 20 points. I mean, 11 rebounds, 8 assists, 2 steals.
And it did not feel like 20 shots.
A pedestrian Jimmy game, like in the playoffs. You expect more from him for sure.
Yeah. I think Timberwolves in 6.
Yeah, Timberwolves in 6. Okay, last series going on right now. Pacers Cavs. The Halliburton experience is such a fun ride. The Pacers are up 2-0. The Cavs are injured as hell. Like,
what happened to the Cavs? Was I not paying attention? When did Mobley get hurt?
No, it just happened like that. He got hurt in game 1 of this series, and yeah, I don't know.
I feel horrible for Cleveland, man. They had this amazing season, and then everyone just gets hurt at the end, and it's over. They have 3 starters out. Like, that just sucks. That sucks for Cleveland. I'm not taking away from what Indiana did, but like that sucks for Cleveland. Donovan Mitchell had like an all-time performance in Game 2, and it's all for nothing. It feels like.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's no other way to say it. It's just, it sucks.
It's also made this Pacers team so unfun to talk about the last 2 years, where they keep ascending and doing awesome stuff. And then every time it's like, well, Brunson was hurt, Giannis was hurt, Dame was hurt, Garland and Mobley are hurt. It's just, I don't know. Like, Pacers are such an awesome, fun team, and I feel like the injuries are why people don't want to ever give them credit.
Oh, 100%. 100%. But I think, like, even, like, you know, putting yourself in the position to take advantage of injuries, like, there's something to be said for that.
That's true. Not a lot of teams would come back from the deficit last night with Mitchell putting it on. I got to say, the Pacers, they play so hard until the whistle. Like, so they just play so freaking hard. They never wave the white flag. When the Cavs were struggling to inbound the ball with like 2 minutes left, I was like, are we about to get another? It kind of did creep into my mind that it was happening. And then when they really started to close the gap, I was like, it's going to happen. Why do I know it's going to happen?
So Tyrese Halliburton, obviously he hits that step back 3 as the game winner. And then in OT, in the closeout game in the first round, he hits that game winner. And then last season against Milwaukee, he hits a game winner in game 2 of the first round. The Pacers, all time in the playoffs, in fourth quarter and overtime, they have 6 game winners basically in their playoff history. 3 of them are Tyrese Halliburton, 2 of them are Reggie Miller, and then there's a Dale Davis. How, if they end up winning this series, which I think is pretty likely, has Tyrese Halliburton passed Paul George all time as a Pacers player?
Ooh. So Paul George has 1 conference finals or 2?
I think he has 2. Let me pull that up.
I do, I feel like Halliburton will inevitably pass Paul George, and I feel like because of the way Paul George ended his tenure there, any Pacers fan would tell you that Halliburton is ahead of George. I feel like objectively looking at it, I would still lean George. I feel like people kind of forget how impactful Paul George was at the time, and it's a little
so they had 2 in 2012, 2013. They made the conference finals, and then they made it again in 13-14.
Yeah, and they were very competitive with the Heat in one of those years. And that Heat team was really good. I lean George now, but I think a year from now or 2 years from now, I think it easily switches to Halliburton.
I just think that's like crazy. Like when that trade went down, obviously, like I thought it was a huge win for the Pacers.
Yeah, so but I think everyone did. That was one of those trades at the time where people were dunking on the Kings.
But I didn't think we were gonna be here. Like I didn't think we were going to be in a place literally a little under 2-3 years later where we're tossing around Tyrese Halliburton's name in like the greatest Pacers of all time. And I think they have a legitimate, especially with how the Knicks series is going, they have just as real of a chance of going to the NBA Finals as I think they've had. at any time in the last 15 years, ever since really the Reggie Miller
feels
era
like a better shot than last year for sure.
ended. And they're just a team chock full of playoff risers. Like Nemhard, I don't think it can be overstated, like how that dude just does not give a fuck. Like he does not give a fuck how big the game is or what. He is going to come out and like play amazing, bust your ass. Tyrese Halliburton will talk his shit in like Pacers, Reggie Miller fashion. Nesmith is just gonna fucking be the most annoying player to your opposing team no matter what. And then Miles Turner, a guy who for it felt like 2 years was just like doing open interviews about how he was ready to go to LA and play center next to Anthony Davis, is like making all of these like insane timely offensive rebounds in the playoffs. Like I just don't know how you can't fall in love with this Pacers team. They are so fun to watch.
They are. I love how they never like give up.
And they push the pace.
Crazy. That game, like I want to give. I know we're doing Pacers. I got to give Donovan Mitchell his flowers, man. I think it's crazy that people don't view Donovan Mitchell as like because a lot of people will be like, he's not that consistent. I feel like Donovan Mitchell has like now proven himself to be one of the great playoff scorers we have in the NBA. He is just
absolutely.
He is incredible. And he had nothing left to get. At the end of that game, he was so gassed.
Yeah, I mean, from a points per game perspective, he's one of the most like dominant, or like a playoff points per game. Like he always shows up. He's just relentless around the rim, an amazing shooter. Yeah, I mean, Donovan Mitchell.
I feel bad for Cleveland, man. Like I don't want to take away from anything the Pacers are doing, because even if you're playing a significantly worse team, coming back from 7 points in 40 seconds is a monumentous feat. To do it twice in 3 games.
Yeah,
shows how special the Pacers are. This isn't taking away from the Pacers. I just feel horrible for Cleveland. Like you have this perfect season. I feel like you're finally out of the shadow of LeBron, where you can be your own franchise again. And you just 3 of your best 4 guys get hurt, or 3 of your best 5, I guess, just go down, and it's kind of like, well, now we're definitely not. Now we're in the series. Like I don't know. That just I hate that for Cleveland. Especially they look like, especially after round 1, where it's like, wow, here are the Cavs. They just beat the Heat by 5,000 points.
Is there any way the Cavs get back in this series?
I feel like this is the way the Cavs get back in the series is if the Pacers, which would be uncharacteristic of them, have we're on top, this is easy for us now. Because we haven't seen this Pacers team operate from this point yet. We haven't seen them operate from a point of like, we have this in the bag, no one believes in us.
Yeah.
Or everyone believes in us. Everybody, they've been operating on no one believes in us energy, which I feel like encapsulates what would make that team thrive. We haven't seen them in that setting, and I don't think Donovan Mitchell's going to let this season just go away. I wouldn't be surprised if we get another 40 bomb from Mitchell in Game 3. The hard part, though, is can the role players replicate what they did? Like Strus was freaking awesome in Game 2. Can Strus do that on the road in Game 3? That's where Cleveland, I'm a little scared.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm with you. I am definitely a lot more confident in the Celtics' ability to come back down 0-2 than the Cavs at this point. But I guess I don't know. We're just gonna have to. See.
What is the injury status of these guys? I know Garland has the toe.
Let's see.
Evan Mobley. I hate how these articles don't just say in or out. Garland is out. Mobley and Hunter are questionable.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I feel like Mobley's got it. He's got to play. He just has to
high
play.
volume Ty Jerome is back, that means, which is not good for Cleveland. He was really rough in that game, 1 of 15. I think from the field, like just a terrible showing from him.
Well, and I can't think of a worse team to like have to play your backup point guard against. It's like not only are you going to have to like handle the ball in a playoff scenario in a way that you have never had to do, before, but also we're playing against the Pacers, and you are going to have to sprint your ass off the entire fucking game, and you're going to be more tired than you've ever been, like, to boot. It's just, it's a really tough scenario to be thrown into for Ty Jerome.
It was. Did you have that inevitability feeling when it was all happening? Like when the Pacers really started that climb? I kind of felt like it was coming. It like, I don't know. I was like, oh my God, the Cavs can't inbound the ball.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
I mean,
I
thought
he was in my soul that the Pacers were going to find a way to rat the game out, and they did.
I felt like it was inevitable it would go to overtime, but I don't know. Even on that last shot, like, I thought Halliburton was short. Like, it seemed like he didn't get enough momentum behind the ball to get it over the rim, but obviously he did.
Yeah, what a game. What a game. I feel like, it's still early in these series with injuries to Steph, with injuries to the Cavs. It looks like those two series may be a little foretold. I mean, even the Nuggets OKC series, there's such a tremendous beatdown in game 2. We really got to see what Denver looks like. I feel like, I know we lauded the Knicks and we shit all over the Celtics stars, but I still feel like the Celtics are going to make a series out of that.
Oh yeah. It's not over. Real quick, should we rank our championship contenders at this point?
Oh, I'm down.
Okay. So let me get my list up of everybody.
I already know who I have number 1.
Yeah, I mean, I assume you have OKC.
Yeah.
So we both got OKC.
So that's my first major change because I had Boston all year. So now I've got OKC leapfrogging them.
Okay. Yeah, and I think I was at OKC number 1. Number 2, who do you just slot down the Celtics or who do you have there?
It's hard to slot the Celtics down to 2 when they're down 0-2.
Mm-hmm. But there's no rules against it. We're open at the Foul Trouble Podcast.
Yeah, because it's not to make the finals; it's to win the finals, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm still gonna go with the Celtics. I'm still gonna go with the Celtics.
Yeah, me too. Honestly, you want to hear something crazy? Like, a huge part of me wants to put Pacers there. I'm like, the teams
I don't blame you. I mean, as I'm looking at the bracket, I'm just thinking, what does a Pacers Timberwolves finals look like? What does a Pacers Thunder finals look like? It's
because the teams that I feel best about making the finals right now are OKC, the Pacers, the Timberwolves, and I guess the Nuggets. I don't know. Like, in game 1, I was watching it of Nuggets OKC, and I'm like, whoever wins this is going to win the championship. That's really what I felt.
If Donovan Mitchell can pull off game 3 and they get healthy for game 4, Patrick, and it's 2-2, I would feel pretty confident about the Cavs as a championship contender.
Yeah. If they get through this series, especially with how the Celtics have played. But I don't know. I have a hard time believing that the Cavs can come back.
It'll be really hard. It'll be very difficult. I don't know. It is hard to rank the contenders right now. I guess the teams that I like a lot, and it feels so stupid saying this after that game 1, I really like the Timberwolves right now. I think they're positioned well in the conference, especially with Steph's injury, to make it out of this round. And then, I mean, Thunder,
you know what?
Thunder are gonna
I'm
be
with
tough.
you.
That's going to be a battle, but I do think the Timberwolves can pull that out. I do think that Anthony Edwards is going to be a player that the OKC's perimeter guys are going to have a little bit of trouble containing, which they're not within this Denver series.
I'm with you, man. Timberwolves are my number 2 right now.
I don't know. It's such a weird point in the bracket right now. It's just, I feel like the Knicks going up 2-0 is throwing everything into chaos more than any other outcome for me.
Pacers. Celtic. It just feels so disrespectful to put the Celtics above the Knicks at this point.
It does.
But I'm like, I just don't know even if the Knicks get through this round, I'm like, I don't know that I would pick them to beat the Pacers. And I don't think I would pick them to pick the Cavs to beat the Cavs at all.
You know what, though? I think what's really funny about if Cleveland pulls off a miracle comeback, New York, Boston is this rock fight. I think the reason why those are such rock fight series is because of the similarity of like body types across the rosters. I feel like the more similar the players are, the more likely you get these low scoring matchups.
Yeah.
I feel like with the difference in team composition with Cleveland versus those two teams, where it's like shifty guards who can get buckets, but on the flip side, the size of those teams get buckets against the low size. I feel like that series is going to look a lot different. Like it's going to be very up and down, high scoring. Whereas right now we think of the Knicks and Celtics as these slugfest teams, but I think it's largely because of the roster similarities and player size and everything, I think is what results in these lower scoring series.
Okay, I've got my list.
Yeah.
I've got OKC, Minnesota, Indiana, Boston, New York, Cleveland, Warriors, Nuggets.
So you have Nuggets last.
Just because
Because they have to make it through OKC.
Yeah, they got to make it through OKC. If they make it through, maybe I should switch Nuggets and Warriors. But honestly, if the Warriors and the Nuggets were both healthy and that was our Western Conference Finals, I'm picking the Warriors.
Really, I would pick the Nuggets.
From what I've seen on defense for them, I think it would be too tough. Because the problem with the Warriors this whole postseason so far is that they just haven't been able to score enough. And I think if they're playing against the Nuggets, that's not going to be a problem.
I just think the Nuggets are bad protecting the rim and the Warriors are bad at getting to the rim. So it's kind of one of those where the weakness maybe doesn't shine so bright against that particular team.
But also, like, in the universe where they get there, and, you know,
why are we talking about a hypothetical Nuggets Warriors as they're both about to lose their respective series, most likely? As I say that with the Warriors being up 1-0. This is so we're entering into like disrespectful territory to almost every team left.
Yeah, except for OKC.
Yeah, OKC's the only team we've shown love to. What was I about to say? I don't even remember. Man, I can't wait for game 2s tonight. We got game 2. Or actually,
we just have one game tonight.
Mavs. Yeah. Oh, we only have one game. It's Timberwolves Warriors.
Timberwolves Warriors, and then we get 2 on Friday.
Watch us look really stupid when the Warriors win this game.
Hey, I'm fine with that. I don't know. You could so see it though. You know, they won the one game without Jimmy. Like, I would not be shocked if they won that game. But also, like you said really eloquently, it's like it's hard to believe that the Timberwolves offense is going to be as bad as it has been.
Yeah. Oh, this is what I was going to say to close this out. So, is Jokic just the coach?
He might be.
I'm not even asking that hyperbolically to be funny. Like, there are timeouts where they show the Timberwolves bench, and Jokic is doing everything. He...
James,
literally the coach.
4 people have asked me that question this week, and I have not known how to answer it because I'm like, maybe, like, I don't know. I see those videos, but I don't know.
But like when Adelman took over, they were like, "Oh, are you letting Jokic coach?" Like jokingly, and he like jokingly was like, "Yeah, it seems like a good idea." But it feels like they like planted, like they did Inception, and like planted the idea in his mind after like his second game as Nuggets coach, and he was like, yeah, what if I just let the smartest basketball player ever do the basketball decisions? That seems like a good idea.
I will say the Jokic coaching videos have been a huge hit to the people. The Jokic is just going to leave the game at 32 and hang out with his horses people. There's that island is struggling right now.
Man, can Jokic win Coach of the Year next year?
He could. I actually think
Jokic
it's
player
not
coach,
legal.
If Jokic player coached and they got the 2 seed, how many Coach of the Year votes do you think he'd get?
Oh, I think he would absolutely
Would
win.
win.
I think if there's a player coach in the NBA again, which I don't think is legal anymore, but if that happened and they got a top 3 seed, I just don't. The narrative would be so heavy.
So you were right. The collective bargaining agreement prohibits teams from employing players who also serve as coaches. Wow, the coaches union.
Yeah. Hey, part of me thought
This is
maybe
how Jokic begins his anti-union arc.
Damn, Chris Paul. Why'd you let Grant Williams negotiate that contract? You could have been our coach this year.
CJ McCollum has ruined the NBA.
He has.
No, that would be so funny if they were allowed and the Nuggets were like, we are introducing Nikola Jokic as our head coach.
Hey, he's very Bill Russell. Okay,
Yeah.
Best take, worst take. You already gave your worst
take.
take.
For picking the Celtics in a sweep.
My worst take is very similar to yours, but it's from Paul Pierce, who yesterday on Speak
that's what I was
One,
watching.
Speak Now, Speak. It's just Speak Now. If the Celtics lose Game 2 at home, I'm walking here tomorrow, 15 miles in my robe, no shoes on, barefoot. Put the house on this game. Of course, the Celtics ended up losing, but I do have to give shouts to Paul Pierce, who has been posting videos all morning of him walking the 15 miles to set today.
No way. I gotta.
Yeah, no, it's incredible. I saw like a compilation of them on X, but probably on Instagram. I'm not sure.
My best take is gonna go to the New York Knicks fans because those. What is the original compilation of Knicks fans called? I don't know. There's this guy on Instagram who's making them now called, I think his handle is Dondre Mac or something. But the Knicks fans, man, they're the best. Oh, I want the Knicks to keep winning because watching those is these people are just going ballistic, and the editing is actually so good on these where it'll be like, we've only won 2 games, calm down, and the next guy will be like, fuck Boston. They're just going ballistic. So I just the Knicks fans for the F Boston takes. Also, the first one is hilarious because the game ends game 1, right? And every Knicks fan is like, Knicks in 5, Knicks in 6. After game 2, every one of them is like, Knicks in 4.
See, that's one of the things I'm most nervous about for this homestand in New York is everything I see is like ticket, like the get in the door price is like $900. I'm like, James Dolan, if you want to win this series, if you are serious about winning this series, you get some of these crazy motherfuckers in the door at like $80. Just fill it with real New Yorkers. There's no way Jason Tatum could take that heat.
Yeah. Well, I will send you these Knicks fan ones. You have to send me the Paul Pierce ones because good on Paul Pierce for doing it. You can't give him worst take if he goes through with it.
That's
right.
Hey, I already had it down as my worst take. But and when I was driving and I saw that, yeah, I'll pull that up and send it to you. My best take of the week is going to Zach Lowe, who just in a great like tweet Smith fashion quote tweeted Bill Simmons' tweet from one day ago saying, "Playoff basketball, was that a crazier comeback or collapse?" And then after the Celtics collapse yesterday, he quote tweeted that and said, "Applicable again 24 hours later. Sorry, Bill," which is just like the perfect zinger.
Do you think Bill's meltdown when he realizes Jason Tatum isn't top 5 is gonna like? Do you think it'll ever hit him or?
Wait, you're saying that Jason Tatum hasn't taken the superstar leap this season?
I love Bill Simmons, but what cracks me up about him is like Jason Tatum will literally shoot 3 of 20 like he is in this series, and then Bill will be like, "But did you see the rebounding stuff Jason Tatum did? Like, great, Bill. He rebounded the basketball. It's not like fucking every center in the goddamn NBA isn't averaging 10 rebounds a game at this point. Like, he's doing.
It's why I love Bill.
Nothing.
Because he's a fan. He is a fan first and foremost. He's the best fan of all time. But he's a fan, and no, he will never come to that unless they trade Jason Tatum. And the second they do that, he will come off of him.
You know, with Jason Tatum, he never really. I always thought he was going to get to another level, but he never quite got to that level. Like I can see it.
Okay. Now hot streak or shooting slump. The part of the show where we talk about our last 7 days and decide if we're on a hot streak or a shooting slump. James, how has your last week been?
I feel like, Patrick, I keep having these weeks where I have a strong hot streak moment and a strong shooting slump moment, and I have to decide which one defines my week. And often the shooting slump moment is the one that is the definer of my week. But I'm going to go hot streak.
It's kind of like a Boston Celtics game. It's like it's going pretty well, but there's just one moment that goes bad. It's called the fourth quarter.
It's like you look at our roster, we have the biggest payroll in history. We got Drew Holiday, amazing player. Derek White, amazing player. The Jalen and Jason, great players. We got, Tingus and Horford, and we got the sixth man of the year. And I even like Sam Hauser a lot. But, no, so I'm going to quickly hit on the shooting slump just because, Patrick, I'm getting old. You were there on Friday last week. We were doing a video shoot where we were doing very passive, minimal basketball challenges for a video. And I strained my back, and I've just been in, back pain a lot. When I lift up a glass of water shoulder height, it hurts my back a lot. Lifting anything up with my right hand feels really bad. Every day I wake up, my whole body just hurts. I don't know what I did. But I'm on a hot streak because my girlfriend passed the California State Bar, which is super exciting. They had a really weird fiasco this year where they changed test administrators, and it resulted in tons of technical failures, and I think the passing rate was super low, but she passed. So Monday night we went out, we went drinking on a Monday, which is great, normal behavior.
That's hot streak behavior.
It was hot streak behavior, and I don't know if I said this on the pod where I said I had a shower thought, and I was like, I'm getting a little too boring. I need to turn up my
you did, I think, or at least you said it to me.
So I'm back. Jesse was like, you want to hang out and go for drinks on Saturday? I'm back, Patrick. My frat days are back. I'm going to a bachelor party next month, and we're going to drink. I'm back. I'm going back to my roots. I'm going to get chubby again. I'm so back.
Let's go. I love this, James. And it's not even football season yet, James.
Oh, no.
But by the time the NFL rolls around, oh, my God, you're going to be a fucking beast of a man. It's going to be amazing.
I'm going to be huge.
Well, that's amazing. Congratulations to your girlfriend. That is quite the accomplishment. And I feel you, bro, because I am on a hot streak because I have just, had a lot of fun recently. Had a beach day on Sunday. But the reason why I feel you is because I played a 7-game series of spike ball that came right down to the buzzer.
The final spike.
It went into overtime, truly, and we ended up losing, but that's okay. But after those games were done, I was crying all Monday. I was crying because I was so sore from I only have one speed, especially in spike ball, and I'm gonna be diving. I'm gonna risk my body to get that ball up in the air, even if it has no chance of hitting the trampoline.
Our viewers have never had the pleasure of watching you play. Patrick plays like you. I feel like it's bad when people make the absurd comparisons to NBA Hall of Famers. But if we're going strictly off if I took your shot chart and overlaid it over the other guy's shot chart, how similar would they be? And Patrick plays like a Dennis Rodman.
I think.
He worms around people for rebounds. If you're catching your breath, he'll nudge you. Patrick gobbles up rebounds like a vacuum cleaner.
I'm a high motor player. I like to think of myself as Josh Hart when he was on the Trailblazers and shot 0% from three. That's kind of my play style, but that doesn't change in spike ball either.
You're still like Josh Hart. You come from out of the frame to gobble up an offensive spike.
Exactly. Whatever it takes, baby. Whatever it takes. I will say one downside to the week, a basketball thing, was I don't know how locked in you are on fucking the Suns' new GM. What is his first name? It's Mark Gregory. His last name's Gregory. But boy, is this a red flag hire if I've ever seen one. So this guy, I feel I need to know his actual name. But basically, his background is he's been working for the Suns now for like a year in the Suns front office. Before then, Brian Gregory. I don't know why I keep trying to say his name's Mark. Brian Gregory. His background is he was a college head coach for like 20 years. He coached at Dayton. He coached at Georgia Tech. No like marquee schools. Never really had like major success. Didn't really coach any like huge players. Never really recruited any huge players. That's fine. But he comes in, has like a year of front office experience in our front office, and we're supposed to be changing the culture. We're just moving somebody up. And it's this guy who would never, ever be hired as a GM for any other team because he has no experience doing this at all. So you might ask, why? Why would they hire this random guy?
Wait, can I push back a second?
Yeah.
The Sacramento Kings are like, we would hire him.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But so anyways, you might be asking why would the Suns hire Brian Gregory if he doesn't have the resume or whatever? Well, he does have one thing on his resume. He was an assistant coach for the Michigan State Spartans when Matt Ishbia was a player. And that is why he has the job. And in his first press conference, he said some variation of the word align, alignment, aligning 30 times. So it seems like we have just like a new major mouthpiece for Matt Ishbia, which, you know, hey, if you win, if you make a better roster, I don't give a shit. But it's definitely not encouraging.
I'm sorry, Pat. That's how it
Yeah.
goes.
It's
Speaking of GMing, I know it's another sport, but you'll appreciate this. Sports Illustrated just wrote an article. It was called "The Josh Allen Process: How the Giants Identify Jackson Dart." And do you want to know what the defining characteristic that was shared between the two quarterbacks was? That apparently was the green flag that really got our GM excited.
Yeah, I would love to know.
When they visited the respective prospects, Allen and Dart, they booked the dinner res, and they were like, wow, this guy's a real adult.
No way. That guy.
I unironically think, yeah, is a green flag. But at the same time, yeah. I don't feel like it's the characteristic that is like franchise QB, baby.
It's kind of more of a red flag for me about the Giants that they have to book their own dinner reservation. Like what? You're considering drafting this guy with a top pick, whatever, top 90 pick, and you're making him book the fucking dinner reservation? That's crazy. Yeah. I will. You want to hear my glass half full of the Suns GM thing? My glass half full of the Suns GM thing is every Ishbia move so far. You can quibble with how it went, but I would argue that every move that he's ever made has like tried to win the headline for a casual basketball fan. It's like, we're trading for Kevin Durant. We're trading for Bradley Beal. We're signing Tyus Jones. Like, we're hiring Mike Budenholzer, this championship head coach. We're hiring Frank Vogel. This is the first move that he has made that I think just at face value, you're like, what? Who the fuck is that? Like, it doesn't win in that way. So I'm hoping that means that they've really got a gem here.
Patrick, we could wake up tomorrow and it would be like Devin Booker to get legs amputated. And you'd be like, if I'm going glass half full for the Suns.
Yeah. I mean, Wheels could really, like, he's had these hamstring problems. So
why not just get rid of him?
We're getting rid of him. He's not going to miss these games anymore.
Your Suns spin zone. You should be like one of those reporters who's like a reporter, but you're just secretly a mouthpiece for the Suns organization.
I'm ready, Suns. I like, just give me what you want. Just honestly, any franchise. I have the ability to spin any of your talking points.
If you got hired by the Dallas Mavericks, could you switch allegiances?
If I got hired by the Dallas Mavericks, potentially, yeah, I can be bought for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, can you imagine? Can you imagine like I get hired, but they're like, I sign an NDA and they're like, you can't say anything. And you're just like, damn, like Patrick's really high on
I feel like if I was like Steve
Max
Ballmer
Christie now.
and I had like scouts that were like, I want to find the best NBA fans. Like, let me get the best NBA fan of every fan base, and I'm going to buy them out so they can go sit at the wall.
Hey, I'm ready, Steve.
That seems like something he would do.
It does seem like something he would do. Getting together an elite group of NBA fans who just
And
have
flying
been
them to
through
a Game
it.
7?
Yeah, they're ready. They're ready to be an apologist for James Harden.
I feel
I'm
like
ready.
my Ishbia superlative is Ishbia's Ballmer without the thoughtfulness.
Yeah. Well, no, he's Ballmer who has not hired any smart basketball people yet. He's done all the cool things around the edges. It's like, oh, we're redoing this and we're
TV
making
deal.
an amazing practice facility, but it's like, hire Lawrence Frank? No, thanks. I'm going to hire my buddy, my coach from college.
The guy used to buy me 6-packs before I was 21.
Yeah, literally. I guess at least it's not Tom Izzo, right? Would that be worse?
I mean, I don't know. I think the problem if you hire an Izzo is like he's like, protect the rim, and the Suns are like, we don't have a center.
Yeah.
Stop yelling at me.
I don't know. And the other thing is, like, of course, he's like from Michigan, and like that's the sneaky thing about everyone that works for the Suns now is from Michigan.
They don't understand. They don't understand the Phoenix climate, man.
So there's only one way forward, and that is trading for Draymond Green. We need you, Draymond. We're ready for you. We get Draymond in there. We get Kuzma in there. We've already got Book from Michigan.
It's coming.
My mom's from Michigan. I mean, she's moving away from Arizona, but I mean, maybe she could stay, Matt, if you got a role for her.
All right, we're going way off the wagon here. We will call it there. We'll see you guys next week. Hopefully, we have some more good games, and we'll talk then. Peace.
Peace.